What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Boxing Pulse. Before we get into today's video, I need to ask you something. If you're a real boxing fan who loves the sport and wants to stay updated on the biggest fights, the biggest stories, and the biggest controversies, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications. We're building a community of passionate fight fans here, and every single subscription helps the channel grow and reach more boxing fans around the world. Now let's get into it, because tomorrow night, Tommy Fury might be facing the most important fight of his entire career. And no, it's not because Eddie Hall is the most skilled boxer he's ever faced. It's because of what's at stake if things go wrong. Tomorrow night, Tommy Fury steps into the ring against Eddie Hall. On paper, this should be a straightforward victory for Tommy. He's the professional boxer. He's younger. He's faster. He's more experienced. And he's spent his entire life around boxing. But boxing doesn't happen on paper. It happens under bright lights. It happens under pressure. And sometimes all it takes is one mistake, one punch, one bad round, one moment, and suddenly everything changes. That's why today we're asking a question that nobody seems willing to ask. Can Tommy Fury actually afford to lose this fight? Because the answer might be more serious than most people realize. One thing people often forget is that expectations can be dangerous. Nobody expects Eddie Hall to outbox Tommy Fury. Nobody expects him to move better. Nobody expects him to be the more technical fighter. That's not his job. Eddie Hall's entire reputation is built around one thing: power. Raw, terrifying power. The kind of power that can make people nervous even when they know they're the better fighter. And that's what makes this fight interesting. Tommy Fury is expected to win. In fact, he's expected to win comfortably. And whenever expectations become that high, the consequences of failure become even bigger. Because if Eddie loses, people will say he gave it a good shot. If Tommy loses, people will ask serious questions about his future. To be fair, Tommy appears to be taking this fight seriously. Every training clip we've seen shows a focused and motivated fighter. His hands look sharp. His movement looks crisp. His conditioning appears solid. And perhaps most importantly, he understands what's on the line. Tommy is no longer just Tyson Fury's younger brother. He's trying to build his own legacy. He's trying to prove that he belongs in professional boxing on his own merits. Since defeating Jake Paul, Tommy has carried the pressure of being the fighter who stopped one of the biggest names in crossover boxing. That win gave him credibility. It gave him attention. It gave him opportunities. But credibility is hard to build and very easy to lose. That's why this fight matters. Now let's talk about Eddie Hall. A lot of people are laughing off his chances. And honestly, that's understandable. Tommy Fury has significantly more boxing experience. But here's the thing. Heavy hands don't care about records. Heavy hands don't care about betting odds. Heavy hands don't care about expectations. Eddie Hall is one of the strongest human beings to ever walk the planet. The former world's strongest. Man has built his entire career around generating incredible force. And while strength doesn't automatically translate into boxing success, it absolutely creates danger, especially early in a fight. Especially if Tommy gets careless. Especially if Tommy starts believing his own hype. All Eddie needs is one clean opportunity. That's what makes boxing so unpredictable. The better fighter doesn't always win. The fighter who lands the right shot at the right time sometimes does. Now let's get to the brutal reality. What happens if Tommy Fury loses? First, the undefeated record disappears. And records matter. Whether fans like it or not, undefeated fighters are marketed differently. Once that zero disappears, the conversation changes. Second, the momentum stops. Momentum is everything in boxing. Tommy has spent years building his profile. Every victory has moved him one step closer to bigger opportunities. A loss to Eddie Hall could bring that progress to a sudden halt. Promoters would start asking questions. Sponsors would start asking questions. Fans would start asking questions. And those questions wouldn't disappear overnight. There's another factor that makes this fight unique. The Fury surname. Being part of boxing's most famous family is both a blessing and a curse. The blessing is obvious. The opportunities. The attention. The support. But the curse is constant comparison. Every Tommy Fury performance gets compared to Tyson Fury. Every victory gets measured against the achievements of his family. And every setback gets magnified. If Tommy loses to Eddie Hall, critics won't just attack Tommy. They'll attack the Fury name itself. Fair or unfair, that's the reality. People will say he never lived up to expectations. People will claim he was protected. People will argue that his success came from his surname rather than his ability. That's the kind of narrative that can follow a fighter for years. Then there's social media. And let's be honest, the internet can be brutal. One upset loss can generate thousands of memes overnight. One bad performance can become a viral clip that follows a fighter everywhere. Tommy has carefully built an image over the years. Professional boxer, reality TV star, family man, successful athlete, public figure. A shocking defeat would put all of that under a microscope. Every interview would become uncomfortable. Every appearance would involve questions about the loss. Every future fight announcement would be met with doubt. That's a heavy burden for any athlete. What many fans overlook is the psychological impact. Losing doesn't just affect rankings, it affects confidence. Boxers often talk about belief. The belief that they're the best. The belief that they can win. The belief that all their sacrifices are worth it. When that belief gets shaken, careers can change. Some fighters come back stronger. Others never fully recover. Tommy Fury cannot afford to let doubt enter his mind. That's why tomorrow night is about more than winning. It's about making a statement. So let's answer the question. Can Tommy Fury afford to lose this fight? From a financial perspective? Probably. From a life perspective? Of course. But from a boxing perspective? From a reputation perspective? From a momentum perspective? The answer is no. This is a must-win fight. Not because Eddie Hall is a world champion, not because a title is on the line, but because perception matters. Momentum matters. Confidence matters. And Tommy Fury cannot afford to give his critics the ammunition they're waiting for. Tomorrow night, he has to prove why he's the favorite. He has to prove why he's the professional boxer. And most importantly, he has to prove that he's more than just the Fury name. Now I want to hear from you. Who wins this fight? Does Tommy Fury get the job done like most people expect? Or does Eddie Hall pull off one of the biggest shocks we've seen in crossover boxing? Drop your prediction in the comments below. And while you're there, tell me where you're watching from. If you enjoyed this video and want more boxing content every single week, make sure you like the video, subscribe to Boxing Pulse, and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Enjoy the fight, and I'll see you in the next one.